Hey crafters, welcome back to the channel. Today we're making the most gorgeous Christmas set, a red, white, and black wreath with this adorable Santa Believe sign, plus matching bows for your Christmas tree. This whole look ties your decor together from the front door to the tree, and it is so easy to make. So grab your ribbon, grab your cocoa, and let's get into it. Here are some of the things that you'll need. 10 by 10 white deco mesh, 10 by 10 red deco mesh. You will also need a Santa sign. I got mine from temu. For the ribbon, I chose to use a all red satin 2.5-inch wired ribbon, a red and white striped wired 2.5-inch ribbon, and a sheer with satin sides black 1.5-inch ribbon. You will also need this holiday trim, but I only used it for the snowflakes. Then you will need a plastic wreath board that is 12 by 12, zip ties, pipe cleaners. Everything that I use will be in the description box below. Now let's get started on making our wreath board. To add your zip ties, you're going to place one in the hole, then add to the second hole and close it up until you hear a click. Not fully, but just until you hear a couple clicks. Then add the next zip tie in the same hole you ended in, and you should have a total of 18 zip ties when you're done. And this is what it will look like. Now we can get started on cutting our deco mesh. We are going to take our white deco mesh and we are going to cut it into 10-inch strips. You will need a total of 24 white strips of deco mesh. Once you have cut your white deco mesh, then you can go ahead and cut your red deco mesh, which you will also cut into 10-inch strips, and you will also need a total of 24. Once you have all your deco mesh cut, then we can go ahead and get started on making our curls, but not just any curls. We're going to do side curls. I saw this on another YouTuber's channel and I thought, oh my God, that would make such a great Christmas wreath. But before we get started on making our curls, let's go ahead and cut all of our ribbon that we'll need for our wreath. We are going to be cutting all of our ribbon at 12 inches. You will need a total of 11 strips for your all solid red ribbon. You will need a total of 11 for your red and white ribbon, and you will need a total of 9 for your black ribbon. Once you have all your ribbon cut, then we're going to go ahead and dovetail our ends. To dovetail your ends, all you do is fold your ribbon in half and cut at an angle. And once again, that's 11 for both of your red and white wired ribbon and 9 for your black ribbon. Now that all of our ribbon is cut, we can go ahead and get started on our curls. So to make your curls, all you're going to do is take your deco mesh and roll it from one side to the next. I'm starting off with a white curl and then a red curl. Then you're going to take your curl and you're going to place them next to each other and you're going to fold it in half. And you should get a V shape with your curls at the top. And then I took a pipe, not a pipe cleaner, a zip tie, and tied it around the bottom to secure it to make sure it stayed in place. Then you're going to take that and you're going to stick it in to one of the zip ties that you put around the board and you're going to close it off. And then once you have that tightly secured, you can snip it off and start your next one. I decided to alternate between my two curls. So if I did a white and a red, and the red was on the outside, then this time when I did it, the red curl would be on the inside and the white curl would be on the outside. Once you have all your curls on for the first row, this is what it will look like. Once you have your first row done, then you're going to go ahead and you're going to take 3 pipe cleaners and cut them in half. You're going to place them in the holes that are directly up and down of each other, giving you a total of 6. Then you're going to place your black ribbon into that. I'm telling you that to I'm telling you that now so that you won't be struggling to move rib mesh out of the way like I had to. Now to start your next row of deco mesh, you're going to take your zip ties and you're going to place them into the holes just like you did the top layer. And when you're done, you should have a total of 12 zip ties. You are going to make curls and you're going to alternate between a white and a red curl, just one curl. So you'll fold it in half and you can zip tie that to keep it in place as well. I did not, but you can, just like you did the top curls. And this is what it will look like when you have that layer of deco mesh added. Now we're going to add our next layer, which you are just going to add your zip ties so that those are done and out of the way. You should have a total of 8 zip ties in this circle, and we are going to add our ribbon bundles this time. For our ribbon bundles, I did 3 ribbon bundles that had one of each ribbon. So that is the red and white stripe, and then the black. And then I found the center of all 3 ribbons and I formed that into a V shape as well. And then I took a zip tie and tied it to the end of that ribbon to keep those secure and in place. And then for our next bundle, you are going to do only a red ribbon and a red and white ribbon. You're going to do 4 of those and you're just going to fold them into a V shape as well, adding a zip tie at the bottom to secure that. And you will also do 4 bundles of red on the bottom and red and white striped on the top. Once you have all of your bundles completed, then we can go ahead and add them to our wreath. For my ribbon bundles, I alternated as well. So if a all red was on top for the first one, then the next one would be a striped red and white on top. And I did that completely going around. You will have a total of 8 bundles. And then after placing all 8 of those bundles on, once you have all your bundles on, this is what it will look like. For our last row of ribbon, you're going to add 3 zip ties to your wreath board. And then you are going to take the 3 bundles that you made with the red and white and black ribbon, and you're going to place those 3 in the center. just like you did all the rest of your ribbon. And now that you have all three of those ribbon bundles placed, this is what your wreath base will look like. Now we can go ahead and get started on adding our sign to our wreath. For our sign, you can either use the two holes that are provided, but I decided to add some Fix-All adhesive to the back of mine and a cable tie holder. I placed that on and then I let that dry. And then I added a pipe cleaner to that. And then I found two holes that were across from each other, stuck my pipe cleaner through that, and tied it to my wreath board. Once I had that secure, I snipped away the excess, made sure that the sign was where I wanted it to be. And then after making sure the sign was how I liked it, I then flipped it back over and then I added another pipe cleaner to the top of my wreath board so that I can be able to hang my wreath. To do that, all I did was find the two holes at the top that would make my stuff centered, make my wreath centered when it was hanging. And I twisted around to make sure that it did not come undone. And that is what we're going to use as our loop to hold our wreath up. I also added my tag to the back of the board, just sliding it under where I held down my wreath sign. Now that we are done making our wreath, let's go ahead and get started on our bows that will match our wreath for our Christmas tree. The first one we're going to do is the black ribbon. For my black bows, I decided to do 13-inch tails and 4-inch loops. I did one loop on each side. And the reason I did 13-inch tails is because with this ribbon, the ends curl up and I really like the way they curl. So once I had that bow made, I took a 12-inch string of floral wire and I folded it in half and then I wrapped it around the center of my bow. And before I closed it all the way off, I decided to add a little snowflake in the center to tie it into our wreath. To do that, all I did was stick one end of the floral wire through the hole in the center, and I brought it back to the backside and then closed it off. Now, for my bows, so that they will have something to live on or so that they won't get messed up, I decided to take a piece of cardboard box and I just punched holes in it. And then I stuck my floral wire through those holes, and that is how my ribbons will be saved away. Also, I made a total of 4 bows for each set. For our second ribbon, you're going to need 4 red bells and your red and white striped 2.5-inch ribbon. We're going to do 9-inch tails with 4-inch loops. You're going to do 2 loops on each side. And since this is a one-sided ribbon, you're going to need to do a twist of your ribbon so that the pretty side is showing for your loops. Once you have all 4 of your loops done, then go ahead and cut your second tail, which is going to be at 9 inches. And then we can go ahead and tie our ribbon off. To do that, we're going to take that 12-inch floral wire and we're going to twist it around the center of the bell. And then we're going to pull our ribbon off of our bow maker. And you're going to place that bell. I am so sorry. You're going to place your bell in the center of your bow. And you're going to wrap around your floral wire around your bow. And then you're also going to thread it through the loop of the back of your bell so that it is tied. Then you can go ahead and fluff your ribbon out. And then once you're done doing all your fluffing, you're going to go ahead and dovetail the ends of your ribbon. To dovetail the ends, all you have to do is fold your ribbon in half and cut it at an angle. And this is what your bows will look like. I did a total of 4 bows. For our final set of bows, you're going to take your wired red satin ribbon and you're going to do 5.5-inch tails, and you're going to do 3.5-inch loops. Now, what I'm going to show you is that I added a mesh tubing to the center of it, but then I didn't like it. Even though it was cute, I didn't feel like it went with the ribbon, the aesthetics of what I was going for my bows. So you can leave it if you would like, but I decided to take it off. And then I added the black vase filler to the center of it. To tie off your ribbon, you're going to take that same 12-inch floral wire and just wrap it around the center of your bow. And then you're also going to dovetail your ends of your ribbon. Once you have all 4 of your bows completed, this is what it will look like. And this is our finished product. If you guys decide to make this set, please tag me. I'd love to see your creations. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Christmas DIYs and other crafty creations. Until next time, you guys, happy crafting!